Yeah, you're yellow, so you've run out. I can't actually remember. Yeah, I didn't actually feed you more. That was a mistake. I should have gone and collected more heat sinks. So, heat sinks, how many have I got? This is something I could also double quite easily with the Soma sloops, to be honest. We've got a bunch. And yeah, like I said previously, I feel that this is something that I never use heat sinks by themselves. And we can make them up to 7.5 a minute. We're throttled because of the copper. We can send more copper down the line and overclock this. I mean, we've got a backlog anyway, right? Yeah, so let's just overclock this first to make 20 per minute. And then let's target 6 to go 18 per minute, because otherwise it's 22.5, which is awkward. So let's just target 6 per minute. And then that's 30 sheets per minute. We are making 30 sheets per minute. But we can also ramp this up, potentially, and use 15 per minute and 45 aluminium per minute. We've got 120 maximum that we can use. So 45 gives us what? 75? I think? Yeah, 75. What are you using? 90. Okay. To make 60, of which I'm using a maximum of, I think, 40. But I'm not actually using them consistently. So if we drop this... What's going to make this 75? 50? Yes. Good guess. So 75, so that's even again. Makes 50. Nice. And then... Oh, we have this split up still. Ah. We no longer want to do this. Because we want all of these coming out 45 per minute. We need all of them going through here, right? Okay, we don't need all of them going through here, but... This is where maybe we need the programmable splitter. Ah, we have to replace it instead. Okay, well, I'm curious to see what the programmable splitter does. So let's take it off this one, first of all. These are all just Mark IIs. Okay. So, programmable splitter. If we have this lined up like that, does it allow, like, capacity at all? No? Not really? Center output. Huh. So, what's the benefit? So let's make that a Mark II again. And we'll... That's now too steep, apparently. Seriously? You know what? Let's just... Because then we can drop this down one more. Oh, but then it's right there instead, so... No, that's... I don't think that's better. We're gonna have to move this. Because you're full, aren't you? No, you're not actually full. That's the other interesting thing, I guess. So we can move you back a little bit. So you're a Mark III. Let's just move you back a bit to have more room. Doesn't need to be a Mark III, of course. But it clears it faster. So, left output is this one. So we go left output is aluminium casings, right? Yeah. I was hoping I'd be able to change... So how is this any different from the smart splitter? This is no different than the smart splitter. That's annoying. Because my whole thing is that I would really like to only split things off when they are backed up. Like, have it being priority. Because there's no priority splitter. Just specific parts, multiple filters to allow specific parts. Okay, so that's all. It just, okay, well, in which case this is a waste. That's annoying. So it is just a standard splitter is all we would be using still. And we would just fit it together when we actually have excess, which we haven't been having. Okay, we'll start getting a backlog of these again, I guess, which I don't really need though. That's the other thing. So you're making 30 per minute. We've got so many anyway. We don't need this to be overclocked. Let's not bother. We'll just make exactly what we need. Right, so what this does mean though, so we've got 10 there, and then 40 there, so we need 50 to be produced now. Which is fine. And then the idea was also that we can have heat sinks coming out, going on to here. What's going on over here? Splitters are doing war against someone else. Whatever. Right, so then these only come out at 6 per minute, yeah. So we can just do... That will just clip straight through the hypertube, yep. Let's just have it going underneath the hypertube first, shall we? Yeah, and crossing over underneath. That's responsible. So let's just do that. Then from there we can go up to there. Okay. So it just needs to be a Mark 1. I really wish it would automatically make the, like if I did this, that I could make it so it automatically makes the stackable pole. It's fine. Don't think there's a way. It's now going to look decidedly top-heavy is the problem. So we've got silica going one way. That's right, we need to do it from this direction, otherwise it's going to try and go the wrong way. So then this can go... Ah, now we don't have stackable poles anymore, that's right. Ah, bugger. Alright, well... We might just have to make them, or we just deviate. That's also fine. We can just go the other side of things instead. What the hell? What are you doing? Stupid thing. You go up here, not the other way around. Alright, and then from here... I'm gonna need more metal plates again soon. You can actually go over here instead. And then... come along this side of things. Good enough. Under the tree. Under the tree. Under the tree. Then you can go over the top of where the hypertube is going, actually. At least to this point. And then, of course, a creature is in the way. Oh, we were expecting it to come over here, weren't we? To follow along here, so we've got the container for them over here instead. Ah. Oops. That was, it turns out, incorrect. We just have it sit on top of this one as well, can't we? Oh, that gets super ugly though. Well, you can just bring it this way. Still, that's fine. So do this here. Then this over here. And then we actually just want to have a container like here instead, I think. Okay, if we pull it back to around here. Go up and over the log. It's going to clip into it. That's annoying. You can also just get rid of the log. This looks like it's actually going to sit on top of the log, which is kind of fun. Alright. We'll sit on top of the log instead. That's cool. And then instead of having these here, we just have you going that way, and then you going that way, or that way preferably. And then you just coming across here directly. There we go. And eventually we'll have a bunch of heat sinks come in, but for now let's just do this and feed it in directly. Cool. Let's go back the other direction again. Just kind of tinkering a little bit at the moment. Basically just trying to determine how quickly can we make these cooling systems anyway. You're now running through? No, you're still full. I guess because you're coming through so fast. But there will now be a little bit of an empty gap at the back, probably? Not sure. So heatsink's now just passing all the way through. You're producing the 6 per minute that I need currently, but I would love to be able to double that. I could double this to get the 30, and that makes that 60. But then this would be less. This would only be producing 45 per minute for casings. In fact, even less, 40. Yeah, it'd be 40 per minute for casings. But now we're doing 60 and 60. We've got such a big backlog anyway. Because yeah, that's the 120 that we're keeping balanced, so that's fine. Alright, so then you go through here, you're now able to be overclocked to produce 12 per minute. 60 and then 36 copper sheets. We cannot keep up with demand for this. We are only producing 20, and that is at maximum from this. But we can put another constructor down. And we can deconstruct this and have a merger on top of this. So then we can have you going across like that still. 20 per minute there. And then I wonder, actually, I want to dismantle this, this, and actually this as well. Let's have this being the Mark III, but facing this direction, and then put the splitter on top. So then we can have a Mark I going up there, a Mark I going there, and we can have another one coming over this way. Constructor round like this, and do it like... It doesn't really match up with any of the angles that we're using here, but whatever. That there, and then that across there. That's pretty much even. And then you go like this, flipping through the plant a little bit, whatever. And then you're going to look ugly as all hell, aren't you? Yeah, going right through the top of the constructor. That's unfortunate. Can I put another... I can put another lifter on here. There you go. And let's just have this go even higher to do this. Funny. Copper sheets. Double. Double cheeseburger burger, please. So 40. And we need to power you, of course. You are full. You are not. Good. And it's not flipping through anything either. Nice. So we now have 40, 40, and 10. 20. 40. So we need 100 now. Okay. It only uses 36 actually, so we actually only need this to be 18. Okay, and now this is empty coming back. Yep. This will start to whittle down. So we need 36 times 2 is 72. 92 is what we need. That's awkward. It would be nice if it was just 90. Right, let's go back to our copper mine then. We can't get there directly, but we can kind of go part way and then fly the rest. So let's go this way, I think. So you follow the power lines, and it's just over here. There it is. So one smelter can only do 30, I know that much, without, yeah, overclocking. So we can overclock, or we can put down, well, we need 3 more smelters, I guess. Well, so that we don't need 3 more smelters. So that's now 60 per minute you're using. What are you? You are underclocked. So now it's 60 to produce 60. So you're just a normal, your normal vein. But we can overclock you to make it produce 120. We can put a splitter in line here. Okay. Get another smelter down. That way. And do that. Upgrade this so it's Mark 3 is excessive, but that's fine. And then copper ingots. Do 60 as well. Why not? Let's produce a backlog. You can go there. We're then going to get rid of this for now. This is completely in excess of what we need. But we can do that, and then we can do that. Let's do it. It's fine. So then we can have that coming up here. The first one can go up the top. Yeah, it is Mark 3. That's fine, because that's what we need, I think. Well, it's not, but we need Mark 2 at the very least. So that now shoots out much quicker. Right, so the next thing to consider, or to investigate, so that'll actually fill up over time. But I remember something about copper dust. Yeah, copper powder. Because I just unlocked the ability to make the nuclear pasta. So that's in a particle accelerator. And it uses pressure conversion cube. Okay. That uses the fused frames and the control. That's okay. Absurd. Copper powder uses 30 to make 5 at a rate of 50 per minute. We need 100 of the nuclear pasta, which means we'd need 100 of these. Well, we might be able to double it, but I mean, power usage 500 to 1500 megawatts. We can soma sloop it, but only if we significantly underclock it, I think. Next question, how big is a particle accelerator? Production, particle accelerator. Oh, I don't have the cooling units, but I can see how big it is. Okay, it's actually not as bad as I thought. But we need to have copper dust coming from somewhere. We can also have copper dust here. Here's copper. And the idea is we just have to feed in everything else. But that's likely anyway. Because otherwise I do not have much other copper near my base. I guess from here that's a normal vein. We could just have that going up the valley. So we don't need to worry about it from here. This is not going to be what we make our dust from. Right, so that's solved. That means we're getting more heat sinks. We can now keep up with higher demand. We're producing, was it 12 an hour, I think? 12 per minute instead of just 6. So then the next factor is going to be rubber that feeds into this, I believe. Yes. Because this can now go back up to 100. So we're using 12 per minute rubber. But the rubber is running out slowly. Let's just go and grab a stack of that, or a bunch of that. Because we have a lot back at base, and we've been toning down our use of it as well. Then we've got a few options. One, we can tap additional copper. 2, we can just upgrade the mine that we're currently using for copper. which is just the easier thing to do, because it's an impure vein, I think, and I think I currently have it double overclocked, or do I have a tier 2 currently? Because we're feeding these aren't even overclocked, these are just doing 30, 30, 30. You are a normal that's double overclocked, okay. So if we replace you with a tier 2 mine instead, which we need one portable miner, let's make 2 of these. So then we can deconstruct you entirely in order to turn you into a miner Mark II. So I only needed to create one after all, of course. Never mind. Right, and then this needs to be at least a Mark III, I think, to go down there. And then you get hooked up to one of these. I don't know even what I'm doing with these now. There we go. Fire up. You are full of ore anyway. That's not a problem. So you are just doing the 120 that we need. But we now want to be able to have this go off somewhere else. To have another smelter. I think we just put our particle accelerator down here, to be honest. It would fit. Okay, well. It can go up here then. So you got inputs coming in this side. Works for me. We will have one container. Oh, will you not? Stupid creatures. There we go. Right, you do that. Nuclear pasta is what you'll be producing. Yes, so 100.5. So this is the container that the pressure conversion cubes will go into when we figure out how we even make those. This is the power cable for that. And then we will need the powder, which we'll probably put in directly, but we could also put in like via a container that just sits kind of skew-if, and then just use like a Mark III, which is excessive, but Mark II would be plenty. But okay, and then we will need to have a smelter first. In fact, we need 2 smelters, pretty much. We just like this and then this. That there. And that there? I think that's too close though. I think if I put a splitter on top here, that's too close. Yeah, so we need a little bit more separation between the smelters. I think that should be fine though. Even that's too close. Yeah, okay. That's annoying. Well, I mean, we don't have to have them lined up perfectly, right? We do smelter and we put it a bit further this way. Then maybe it'll line up more straight. What? Did this go up without me realizing? Must have. There we go. That's better. Good, because then the idea is this just goes straight down there. So now we've got the 120 down the bottom, but this needs to be upped to be 180. And then this copper ingot. And then this copper ingot. Go 30 and 30. And then we need to have another power pole in line. That is literally just here. In order to feed these. Alright. And then we're going to have a constructor. I'm really sure it was just a constructor. Kind of like here. So we'll have these merge off the back. And then have this producing copper powder. 300 per minute to make 50 per minute. Okay, we have a problem. We have a big problem. We're gonna need like 2 more of these at least. Alright. Okay. We can continue this on a little bit. We need to have another splitter here of another smelter, and we need this to be much further back. Okay. We're not going to be able to make that much of it, but we can at least make more. So if we do... Yeah, we can have this one in line of that one, I think. And then we would need to have this one a little bit set back again. Let's just put another power pole like... Let's have it go up like that, just to get things out of the way. Belts are going to be an issue, but I care less about those than the buildings themselves. Let's just have that going like a little bit further away. I should have actually put it... No, I want to put this slightly underneath the power lines, don't I? Fairly sure. Yeah, I want to have this actually like more like that. Maybe even more like that. And then have this facing this way, this facing that way. And then we have the splitter there. So that we can then have you... We only need 60 going that way. But then we do need to have... Oh, it's going right through the power pole, because of course it is. That's ugly. Ah, we can do that though. There we go. That's better. Nice. You come flying out of there to go into here. Alright. We probably want to have all of these go into a joint container. All of these being separate containers was always such an annoyance. We don't even need containers though necessarily, we just need to have them all merging together. We have the container there for the powder, but... So the idea would be that we have kind of the opposite. So we can kind of go like that, there, and then that, and then that, and then that. Because these are all only producing 30 per minute coming out as well currently. Which we can ramp all of these up as well. That's which we might end up doing. We'll need another power line for these two as well. In fact, what we want to do here is we'll disconnect this to just hook that off that one instead. And disconnect this and feed it off that one instead. And then have these two fed off that one. We will need something else for the constructor though. We can always pull that from this way instead. Okay, so then the idea is we need to have mergers now, not splitters. We have a merger going that way and then going that way, and then we don't off that. This isn't going to work though. This is the opposite problem to what I had before, because this is not going to connect up there, is it? No. Maybe if we have this just facing out instead though, then we can go like that. No, we can't. Bugger. It's too close this direction now. That's annoying. Huh. We could have it doing that instead. That's so cursed. But, I mean, if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do. We can do it that way. You know what? That's fine. Then this merger here needs to actually go like that. And then this needs to be a Mark II because we'll have 3 lots coming through. Do that. This only needs to be a Mark 1 though to go in there. And then we need to have, we'll just make it a Mark 3 because why not, going down to the bottom level. Okay. Okay, so then you are making copper. You are making copper. Alright, so now we're making 120 copper ingots. And now we can put the constructor down. We can put the constructor down here. We might even be able to put... Yeah, there's room for a second one if we need it as well, I think. This will no longer be on a jaunty angle. It just had to come a little bit further this way to start with, that's all. Okay. Yeah, so that's 100 per minute is what it needs. Base rate. We might drop this down so it only makes like, it's 50 clock speed, so it'll be 50 per minute copper powder. Is that fine then? Am I overreacting? 50 per minute copper powder. Ah, still needs 300 copper ingots per minute. Which we cannot provide in the slightest. So we have currently got 120 coming in here. We can have 30 per each. 60, and then let's upgrade this belt to make sure that that feeds correctly. We can overclock each of these to produce 60 per minute, which will make 240. Still not enough, but it's better if we drop this to 40. That's the 240 per minute. There we go. And then this gets underrun to 0.2, and that's the 40 per minute. There we go. At least it still only uses 4 Somas loops. I thought it might be like 8. Okay, so that only makes 40 per minute copper powder, so we don't actually need to have anything more than Mark 1 after all. The amount of ingots that turns into a small amount of powder is kind of absurd. We'll just make it Mark 3 anyway, because why not? And then just do that to there. Okay, so 240 per minute, but that's predicated on the idea that all of these are overclocked. We're going to need to pull some more power shards out. Simply because we just don't want to have to worry about making more smelters. So all of those do 60 each. This now starts to become important. This is the 60 that it needs, will be steadily coming in. This will come down from there. This is a Mark 3 now, and then this is an extension of that. Good. So now this, if we're using 240 per minute, plus 120, we're now using 360 per minute. We can't sustain that with this. We actually need a Mark 3 miner. Well, well, well. And also, this needs to be... Oh, these are 270, right. So we now actually need this to be a Mark 4 conveyor belt down here. This is fine being a Mark 3. Okay, well. Dismantle. We're actually going to be putting in a Mark 3 miner. Amazing. It uses supercomputers and turbo motors. It's kind of absurd, to be honest. But there it is. With a Mark 4 conveyor belt coming out the back. So it does 240 by default, and we can partially overclock it to make 360. Which is just what we need. You are not powered. Oops. I thought you were for some reason. You're getting powered off that. Alright, make that powder. So all of these got stock full, and now they're all clearing out. What an operation. And that's all just to feed into this. We can't even do this yet because we don't have the pressure conversion cubes. That's a different problem. So the pressure conversion cubes, they needed an assembler, and they need the fused ones and the control module things. Okay. I'm not going to be able to automate that easily, I don't think. we know that we need 100 of those, which means we need 200 of the control modules and 100 of the fused frames, which I think I just have anyway, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I do actually have 100 of these, so that's good. So, assembler here, close enough. And we will intercept this power pole here to be able to connect up to there. This we will pretty much just feed directly, I think. Pressure conversion cube, fused frame, and then we'll need radio control units. I don't think I have any of those. They are in storage, I think, still, aren't they? And it's a 1 to 2, so I'll need 200 of these, unfortunately. Yeah. That's alright. We can Soma Sloop it, and honestly we should. Like, the first one will not be, but we should for the rest. Because why not? I mean, I can, so I should. Simple as that. Alright, well, that's got that started. Time to take a short break and let it do its thing for a little bit.